Good day and Assalamualaikum. My name is Siti Alisha binti Muhammad Benyamin. I am a research assistant at UiTM Sarawak. Today I will be discussing the possible challenges in establishing a sustainable retirement village. First and foremost, I would like to give a massive appreciation to the respondents who took the time to answer this survey and the SDG grant that has made this journey possible. Your help has been valuable to us, and we owe you a debt of thanks. The main agenda for today's discussion is we'll briefly talk about introduction, literature review, methodology, findings and discussion, and lastly, conclusion. With the transient lifestyle to cope with the rapid economic shift, the younger generations are occupied with their respective commitments, so taking care of the elderly puts them into a hurdle situation. The primary initiative is to introduce a sustainable retirement village as a potential alternative to provide healthcare support and assisted daily life activities for them. With SRV, the elderly can live in a space tailored to their economic needs, comprised of activities, services, tranquilities, and facilities. It is an option for the graying people to live their later phase of life in comfort and with care needed. The improved design of social, economic, and environmentally sustainable features can be adopted to meet with the current goals of healthier lifestyles for the aging population. A retirement village's main qualities are independent living, institutionalization, and an age-friendly atmosphere. An ideal retirement village strives to offer residents with an ideal living environment by first meeting the fundamental requirements of the aged, followed by sustenance needs. Meeting the residents' fundamental requirements is one way to convince older individuals to embrace the notion of living into a retirement village. It covers the design of the entire village's physical environment, which refers to the village's location, available facilities and accessibility, as well as the outdoor and indoor space design. There are three main bases in the SRV model: affordability, expenditure, and services. Economic sustainability is one of the considerations that these residents will take into account where they come with different socio-economic backgrounds. These include the entry contribution, ongoing costs, and the purchase fees on how they can afford their village life. The retirement village can be a donor-funded, communities or resident-financed villages. The whole capital investment is supported by the residents through incoming payments for the purchase of self-care units. And lastly, services like Continuing Care Retirement Community (CCRC) provide its residents with a broader range of services, packages, and entry-fee alternatives such as a mix of independent living, apartments, and nursing care, also include assisted living and other specialty care options. Moving on to a methodology, the challenges related to the establishment of retirement village are identified through literature review. 15 main articles were selected to be reviewed as the pilot articles. To guide the systematic review of this paper, the question posed throughout the search was: what are the challenges to introduce the retirement villages to the community? Then, the snowball technique was adopted to find more evidence to support the main findings. The keywords for the challenges are suggested in the literature, are identified, and lastly summarized. A pilot survey was done for this study using questionnaires issued to the individuals from Generation X. There are a total of 6 possible challenges identified throughout the literature review, which are affordability, lack of interaction, loss of freedom and privacy, stressful decision, lack of awareness, and lastly, negative perception. The retirement villages reported associated with high investment cost and other associated living costs. Some retirement village reported to charge the non-refundable entry contribution, service costs and maintenance fees. Affordability remains a top priority for the elderly, even though they aspire to live in an eco-friendly living environment. Lack of interaction with family is a drawback factor restricting older people relocating into a retirement village. The elderly commonly will need the support and will be taken care of firsthand by their children or extended family. Secluding the elderly from wider community can lead to a sense of no longer being needed or noticed by society or younger generations. Residents are deprived of their choice and freedom due to the demands to comply with the retirement village rules and regulations. Privacy and freedom are lost due to the village design, for example, shared room and common areas. Lack of personal control and autonomy leads to the emotions of impotence, indecisiveness, sadness, and apathy. Relocating to resident aged care are viewed as a stressful decision because it is often unplanned due to an acute medical crisis. Transitioning into resident aged care is treated as a last resort, and according to studies, older people frequently feel angry and powerless, while their caregivers or family members may feel guilty or depressed after the transition. The awareness pertaining SRV in Malaysia is relatively low compared to other developed countries. It is still in its infancy and requires more research and direction. The role of media and online social networks should be utilized as it is positively influencing the attention to move to a retirement village. And lastly, there are negative perceptions lingering among the wider community. For example, retirement villages are just for older people. Sending the elderly to the retirement village means relinquish the responsibility of taking care of the elderly in the family and regarded as irresponsible. Also, the common legal problem in related to a retirement home such as complex contracts, excessive fees and charges, and also breach of law and contract also provide negative perception towards retirement village. Retirement village is the future needs for elderly to complement the current support system by the children and extended family. The challenges in relocating into SRV shows that investment costs and other living expenses become the main challenges. Factors such as loss of privacy and the fear of lack of interaction are alarming. The negative notion of relocating into the retirement village is still deeply instilled in some Malaysians' minds. And lastly, there is still gap in the awareness of the retirement villages in Malaysia. That is all from me. Thank you so much.